Hey everybody, good Thursday morning. Jump right into today's devotion. Won't be long, but I wanted to share with you on service on Sunday, a little different than what we normally have. That's good. Um, it was all good that we had Riel with us from Nicaragua, and where we go and have served as uh, missionaries. I think I've been 3 times. But there's several in our church that's been several times. And so do know where he's from and been to his dad's church and things like that over there. But he came and shared with us on Sunday, and he talked on ICU and was talking about um, God and the fact he sees us and being in I guess, the lonely times of life and wondering, which I think we've all done no matter where we're from, uh, that we feel very small. God's very big and that we're just kind of on our own down here. But he shared with us in Genesis chapter 16 and verses 1 through 13 the story of Hagar. And Hagar was the um, maidservant who um, gave um, Abraham and Sarah a child when they kindly tried to go um, maybe the opposite of the direction that God had laid out for them. He'd be the father of many nations. And so they took matters into their own hands, getting old. But nonetheless, Hagar had spoke with, I talked about how that jealousy grew uh, from Sarah to Hagar, and she was kind of mistreating her. And um, so Hagar then is visited by the angel of the Lord, and then in verse 13, and she called the name of the Lord that spake unto her, Thou God seest me, for she said, I have also here looked after him that seeth me. And so Hagar had, was being humble here in the fact that the Lord had visited her as a maid servant who you know was more or less just a slave, and um, her dignity of life was not very high amongst other people, nor of herself, and so she talked about how that the Lord had visited her, and she made note of that here in verse 13. And so it got me to thinking on our own life. And Matthew 10 and 30, it says, But the very hairs of your head are all numbered. And so the fact that God sees us is amazing. The fact that God knows the very hairs on our head, and as you can tell by looking at me, um, I don't cause a lot of work on God's part numbering my hairs. There's a lot there. They're just kind of like some bald spots appearing here and there. But anyway, um, he knows the hairs of our very head. And it got me thinking about, and I think I might have shared this once before, maybe with the church. Not sure if I ever put it here on devotion, but several years ago, probably 5 or more, um, me and Dalton had went out to San Diego to visit a former football player of mine that is very close to our family and still. And he was graduating from the military, so we went out and spent. I went and spent 3 or 4 days, and Dalton spent a week with him in San Diego. But we went one day out to Los Angeles, and I had sent this to Logan, and then you can tell this is me here, and I'd said something about all this massive amounts of people right here. You know, can he find me? I said, I'm right here. And like I said, we're right downtown Los Angeles. More people than um, I'm definitely comfortable being around. And Logan followed it up in typical Logan form and said, this is me. And of course, as you can see, here is Turkey Branch, and Logan was here at our house, and said, I'm here. And I just, you go ahead and look at this, and you can see most of these are even barns. And from my neighbors and stuff, we all have farms and different things. So don't think that there's 10 or 15 houses here. There's not. For every house, there's 2 or 3 outbuildings and a barn. So there's not many people here. And then you compare that to where I was at in Los Angeles. But the fact is this, the same as Hagar said, God sees me. Whether you're in the big O cities, from the very populated place, the slums of the earth, or if you're, in the good old mountains here with not many neighbors around you, God sees you. And that's a comforting fact that no matter where we go, if I'm here, in on the farm, God sees me. Or if I travel to the other side of the United States and am in Los Angeles and California, in the biggest state that we have, God sees me there as well. And so it's just a comforting fact that God does see us. We, like Rael, have all felt that God doesn't, that we are alone, and wonder where he's at. But it's comforting to know, and I pray that today you find comfort in the fact that God does see you where you're at. He is well aware of what you're going through, and he wants us pouring our hearts out to him, because he's a big God and he cares for us. And so pray that you take comfort in that today. Thankful again for Rael and the statements that he came over with, and truly that sharing his heart for his people, and the big God that he serves is the same big God that we serve as well. So God bless. Have a great day.